The infinite mission is to build the most successful program in developing top 1% men across athletic, richer, and smarter that has ever existed, or at least in known memory. We're told that we're living in the greatest time, but I have my doubts. I think there have been many, many great times throughout history where men have been much stronger, much more intelligent, and much wealthier than they are today. The challenge is to build a system that make men to a higher standard. Now, most men today who feel like they're high achievers, maybe they don't drink, maybe they get up early in the morning, maybe they get in an ice bath or they run long distances and they work a job and they feel as though that's ultra high achievement. It's not. We're living in times of mass destruction, mass distraction, and we need to solve those challenges. That's what great men do. They solve the challenges of their time. They set a precedent that works for generations to come, centuries to come, millennia to come. Everything that we enjoy today is the process of cultural development that happened over many generations. Everyone who's telling you not to worry about your legacy is working for the other side. They're working for those who want you to think you only live once, do whatever you want. If that's part of their message, be very cautious. I want you to have children. I want you to have great children. But equally as important is that you contribute to the collective culture. You contribute to the system in a way that allows us to progress as humanity, as mankind, and as civilizations, as cultures within that. If you look at the places that have objectively become great, that have built great things that everyone wants to go to, well, we should be learning from what built them, not the destruction that's happening to those places now and the mass movement of people to evacuate and destroy those locations that objectively people want to go to. But how do you do it? If you set yourself the challenge of, oh, I'm choosing to build the objectively top 1% men that are going to build the most solutions. I want men in the economy of solutions. What would you do? What system would you create? So I built a custom app and I built physical locations around the world. But the trick is the culture. The challenge is, how do you get men to buy in to this vision for themselves that's much, much greater than anyone's ever imagined for them? If I have a gift, it is that. It is imagining with another man of, what if you did this? What if you did that? And who could you become on the other side of it? I had that conversation with Sonny Bill Williams about his body, about his studies, about his role in mankind. Now he's on television and he's saying what he thinks, and he's still an athlete. I had that conversation with Ben Patrick. He had 50 online clients at the time. He had a cool gym. But we spoke about, what if that information that you have, what if that changes the athletic future of mankind? What if all trainers knew about this stuff? Seemed crazy at the time, but now it happened. Now it's the most influential system of the modern era. The fun is in seeing how many more of those experiences I can be a part of. Now, I've learned as much from Ben Patrick and Sonny Bill Williams. I'm blessed to have had them in my life, and they have so many strengths and abilities that I don't have, and things that I admire and I learn from them. So that's the secret. That's what we need to do, is we need to bring men who are good at one thing, put them with men who are good at another thing, and see what comes out of those combinations. That's what really needs to happen. Where you think success is about you working harder and you finding the secret formula. It's not. Never has been. Never will be. That's not how you build Olympic champions. That's not how you build premiership winning teams and Super Bowl winning teams. What you do is you build a culture, and the culture stays and the culture continues to grow. That's why organizations, even under salary cap, continue to be elite and continue to churn out the best players. It's methods, it's systems, it's processes, it's culture. It doesn't matter who joins Uncommon Success. The men who come in, there will be men who achieve amazing things and play a huge role in the world. The better, the higher achieving the men are when they come in, the further we can go. But who else is even having a go at this? Where are the billion-dollar companies, the trillion-dollar investments in mankind's future? Surely the Renaissance required a lot of energy going into it, a lot of thought, a lot of concentration of, well, how do we build men like Leonardo da Vinci and Michelangelo, DiCaprio's brother? How do we do that? How do we build them? It wasn't by accident. There were many generations. You can trace the lineage of Leonardo da Vinci, his ability to draw. He apparently would challenge anyone to a strength contest of grip. I've read that in his biographies. Inventions, painting and art. How do you build those men? Because those men decided to create things that would be cultural marks that would last for centuries, maybe millennia. Music, buildings, art. The Egyptians, the Mayans, these pyramids that line up all over the world. Did they have values? Did they have something that they thought needed to be said and needed to be remembered? We're forgetting. Whatever the greatest people in history wanted us to know, it's been muddled. It's been lost. We wouldn't be living in the way that we're living en masse if we knew. And so the challenge becomes not you versus the world and you going and doing this one thing. That's not how the wealthy think. That's not how the greatest minds in history have thought. Jesus had how many disciples? Thinking you're going to do something elite on your own is one of the most ridiculous thoughts you can have. But that's how the common man has been programmed. Because at school you were told, focus on your own work. Don't ask for help. There's only one right answer. That's not how it works. There are many right answers. There are many ways to improve mankind. But you have to be willing to have a conversation with your 12 disciples. Who are your 12 disciples? And how are you going to find them if you're trying to be on your own? And you're thinking, oh, I'm just going to look after my family. I'm going to be in this one husband, one wife, 2 happy children, or 1.1 happy children in the depopulated world. No. You will not be happy in that life. Statistically, you will divorce, statistically, on average. You will be poor. You will be under financial pressure for all of your days. Your children will grow up to resent you for the person that you were. Now, of course, this is the average. But should that be the average? Was that the average 100 years ago? Even 50 years ago? How much of has the decline been as we step into both parents' work, as we step into smartphone-educated children? We recognize the problem, but we don't recognize the solution. Villages. You're like, I can't move anywhere. You don't have one in my country. You don't have one in my neighborhood. They're not for families anyway, are they? Yes, they're for families. The family version of the villages, part of the villages, is being built. It's under construction in all the locations. They're not short-term. They're also built for short-term stays. Right now, the Bali Time Chamber, short-term stays. But I'm building a house just around the corner, and so are a bunch of other intelligent men. And we're doing the same in Vanuatu, and we're doing the same in Mexico in 2024, and Montenegro. The nuclear family model is not a good model. I love families. It's not meant to be the way that the nuclear family model has been set up. I've experienced the challenges of the nuclear family as well. I've experienced separation from my wife, passing the children back and forward. It's brutal. It's not how it's meant to be. Men are meant to exist in a clan, in a tribe, with pride. That's how it's always been. Ready to fight for values. What are the values? What are you courageous in? It's not just BJJ. Tell the truth. You don't even know what your truth is. When was the last time you published anything that meant anything to you, that came from the heart? Have you ever shared a video like this? What's on your heart? What's on your mind? Have you made hundreds of them so that you develop your ability to put that message forward into the world? Because the ancient Greeks did. Rhetoric is one of the foundational education pieces in the trilogy. We had the trilogy and we had the quadrivium. The trivium and the quadrivium. Sorry, not the trilogy. The trivium. Rhetoric, logic. The education system wasn't set up for you to be who you can be. It was set up to create what needed to be created. Now, there's elements of the Western world that are great, and there are elements of the education system in the West that should be retained. Objectively, it's the culture that built the best stuff. But has it been in decline for centuries? Were the men who built these places educated in a different way in a time before the modern education system? Master, apprentice. Master, apprentice. Clans. There's a different social structure. Now, I don't know if anyone's allowed to say this because I'm not hearing anyone talking about it. In all the world of self-help and self-development, no one's really talking too much about this. There's little mentions of brotherhood here and there, but it's not being taken that seriously. Now, you might not be ready to move to a physical village. You might not have online income. You probably don't have significant stored wealth. It's by design as well. It can all be fixed if you're willing to expand your comfort zone, if you're willing to learn new things, skills. You can't teach an old dog new tricks. Your brain stops regenerating neurons after a certain age. We got all these lies taught to us. That was taught to me at university. Paid $30,000 to learn a lie about the brain. Some of it might have been by accident, the lies that we learn in the education system. It's either incompetence or it's evil. One or the other. But there's an alternative. I've been able to live an alternative to escape to a level of freedom and competence that most never get to. Athletic competence, financial competence. I'm not saying it to brag, but I've got the numbers, I've got the videos, the data is there. The fun is in seeing what you can do, where you can get to. The fun is in connecting you to great men and seeing who you become. So I'm going to give you a couple of examples. I had a conversation with Chandler, who's one of the men in my network, and he said, you need to read this book, Traction. He understands where I'm at in terms of business at the moment. I've spoken to him about who I am, what my challenges are. He's a man who's had a lot of success in business. He's built multiple successful companies. He's building done-for-you ranches. He's getting that on television. Now that's the solution. That's a man who's had a go at something and is willing to persist. And he's also on a spiritual journey and he's running events. Outstanding. I had a conversation with him. He said, you need to read the book Traction. The book Traction has changed my path in business for better. I've just gone through it. It's changing the way I'm thinking about business, and I will never go back to being the person I was before I read that book, and I wouldn't have read it if it wasn't for the power of connecting. Alone, nothing. Me, nothing. Not good. I know myself alone. Not good. With Ben Patrick, better. With Sonny Bill Williams, better. With Nico Di Paoli, much better. With Chandler, better. So this is the game. This is the power, the mastermind. I connected with another man today who has a similar vision to what I have. He has over 20 men working on his vision, and it's building marketplaces and opportunities and support for healers, meditation coaches, people working in these different realms. And they're looking to set up a physical location, Central America. It's a beautiful thing. Don't try and do it on your own. Had another conversation with a man who I had the opportunity to start his company with him. His company's doing very well. He bought me out of my shares in that company. I'm very proud that he had the ability to be able to buy me out of my shares. And he's a young man. And today we're having a discussion about hiring staff and building the most excellent team. And he's got lots of experiences there. He's just done 50 interviews in the last few weeks to grow his company. How are you possibly going to compete alone? I had the opportunity to get in early on a crypto project last week, just a small amount of money. But the person who introduced that opportunity to me has had several 20x's and 50x's, very wealthy, very intelligent, very well connected. He said, maybe get a few of these. I don't have the time to research that at the moment in depth. I know him as a man, and I know the risks involved in crypto. I'm not expecting that to do the work, but there is a possibility that what I've just purchased there could make more money in the next 12 months than what I'm able to working full time, double full time, as you do when you have a startup. Your paradigm around money matters, your connections matter. Do you speculate on things? Is it intelligent? You can't do it on your own. There is no possibility, and no one who's winning big is doing it on their own. You think Elon Musk does all his research on financial investments? Or do you think he has massive teams of people who study constantly what the market is doing to make him more money? Trusts and family offices, I believe it's called. I didn't even know what a family office was until a couple of years ago. And so this is the game. You either choose to level up and level in with men who've decided to become athletic, richer, and smarter, or you pretend that you're doing something useful when you jump in an ice bath and you prove to yourself, okay, I'm not a complete weakling mentally, physically. Or you're very strong. To be in an ice bath for 10 minutes, 20 minutes, it takes extreme mental fortitude. Excellent. But build something that lasts millennia. That's a bigger challenge. I encourage you to take that challenge. If you would like to link arms, get after that. You know where I am. If you want to do it on your own, you won't. But build a team around it. Get after it. You don't need to do it with me, but do it. And recognize that physical toughness is only an entry. It's only a starting point. Getting away from being addicted to gambling and booze and scrolling and porn and these things. Yes, it's step one. We have that within the program as well. It's a free part. It's an entry level. But we need to go much, much further. I'm inviting you to do that in a way that probably no one ever has, with a logic that hasn't previously existed. This is a gamified solution. You're getting paid, you're earning tokens, you're earning governance token in a project that has big ambitions for getting better. You're in a marketplace where you're able to share the best of what you know with other men. What if it works? What if your biggest dream works? What if you 10x your biggest dream and then you get halfway? The fun is in the journey. Let's go.